The movie opens with a futuristic world filled with tension after Earth had been attacked by Centaurians, aliens from a different planet. By the year 2050, 6 years after the first attack, humanity has been forced to live under electromagnetic domes that cover whole cities to protect them from frequent air raids. Due to frequent war and unrest, democracy had been lost to global leadership. Although the Centaurians have never been seen, their continuous and technologically advanced attacks have left humanity struggling to survive. Step into the future, where it's now 2079. Our attention is drawn to Spencer, a brilliant government weapons designer. After losing his father to the Centaurian attack, he has become determined to be the best at his job. But amidst the chaos, love still finds a way, and he manages to find his wife, Maya. After an intense night with his wife, Maya opens the TV and calls out to her husband when the news about the recent brutal Centaurian attack is addressed by the Chancellor. A few minutes later, both Spencer and Maya head out to work in a flying bus. After kissing his wife goodbye, Spencer heads to the project for a special weapons research facility. On his way there, he meets Nelson, a close co-worker, and starts a conversation where Spencer tells his friend that he had taken his wife camping during the weekend. As Spencer and Nelson examine their groundbreaking weapon, a mysterious figure named Hathaway, claiming to be an agent from ESA, approaches them. But before they can react, Spencer finds himself surrounded by armed soldiers who swiftly incapacitate him with an electric shock. Although Nelson tries to intervene by trying to tell them who the brilliant scientist is, his words fall on deaf ears. As he regains consciousness, he discovers himself bound to a chair in a dimly lit room, about to face an intense interrogation by Hathaway. He then explains that Spencer had lost his father to a Centaurian attack, only to be found in one of their camps flayed alive. Looking dead in his eyes, Hathaway accuses the Tide Man of being an imposter. With an aura of suspicion, Hathaway reveals to Spencer that just 3 days ago, his troops stumbled upon a mysterious Centaurian agent carrying vital messages on its very body. In a stunning breakthrough, the ESA scientists cracked the code and uncovered the Centaurians' sinister plot, which was planning synthetic humanoid robots with explosive hearts. Hathaway also reveals that they had stumbled upon a chilling list with his name on it, revealing the Centaurians' twisted intentions to target, eliminate, and replace people crucial in the fight against them. Hathaway then shows him a video of the recent Centaurian humanoid they had captured, revealing the heart that encased the U-bomb. The robot had acted suspiciously human. Studying him closely, Hathaway makes a point about the genius of the Centaurians for creating such an advanced machine almost completely identical to humans. He then mentions that they only had one flaw, which was that they didn't have a soul. As the agent and his men discuss amongst themselves, Spencer begs his friend Nelson to help him, who had been watching from a window. He tries to get sympathy by reminding Nelson of the time he made advances on his wife during the day of their wedding in a drunken state, and begged Maya not to tell him, but he had forgiven his friend. When he doesn't get any help, Spencer acts like he's a humanoid, making the men coming to move him to the table nervous. Although Hathaway urges them not to believe the man in chains, they cannot help but be frightened, as the explosion of the U-bomb would be devastating. Using their fear, he makes an opening for himself, temporarily holding a man hostage and then running out. While trying to make his escape, Spencer is forced to shoot at some of the guards and accidentally kills Nelson in the process. Although he is devastated, Spencer knows he must get out of there before the rest of the soldiers catch him and find an air duct to escape through. When he feels like he has found a relatively safe place, Spencer immediately calls his wife, who had already been briefed by the ESA. He explains that he would be able to prove his innocence if she would let him take a scan in the hospital, but she warns him not to come there, insisting that she go to him. Out of options, Spencer decides the only way he would be able to survive is by heading out of the city. By running under the surface of the building in the city, Spencer manages to get to the evacuation tunnels and finally to the zone. Hathaway receives criticism from the senator for losing the weapon, especially this close to the arrival of the Chancellor. Hathaway explains that although the Centaurians are much more advanced, their humanoids are designed to feel and think like humans and therefore make mistakes, assuring his superior that he would catch Spencer. Making his way through the zone, Spencer tries to find a building he can lay low in, but he hears police sirens and armies of men questioning the people with his picture in hand. Hathaway has his men use a scanner that takes up 25% of the dome's power and thoroughly searches each building for signs of heat signatures. Although they use all the technology in hand, Spencer is kidnapped by the zone dwellers before he can be captured as a prisoner. Tying him up, the dwellers throw him in a makeshift cell until they can discuss his fate. Once they come to a decision, one of the dwellers, Kale, attempts to hand over Spencer to the border patrol in return for some sort of payment. Knowing that it would be the end of him if he was ever handed over, Spencer tries to bribe him by offering him more payment than the ESA could. When this doesn't work, Spencer manages to convince the man that he would be able to get him medical supplies from the largest hospital in the city because his wife was the lead doctor of the facility. Tempted by the payoff, Kale agrees to take the fugitive to the city using the tunnels. In the bustling city, Hathaway reaches out to Maya, desperately urging her to betray her own husband if he tries to reach out to her. Maya, filled with fear for Spencer, tries to argue that the agent has no evidence to support his claims, but Hathaway, unwavering, assures her that he knows the truth. When Maya refuses to divulge any information, he issues a chilling warning, insisting that she must immediately inform him if anything suspicious arises. On the outskirts of the city, Kale escorts Spencer to a local doctor, determined to remove all his implants to evade the city's watchful censors. With the procedure complete, they venture into the underground tunnels, only to be ambushed by desperate dwellers hell-bent on handing Spencer over to the relentless CSA. The two manage to fight off the scavengers, killing one and chasing away the remaining two. Once the danger is averted, they continue through the tunnels and emerge inside the city. Although they pass the scanners and pick nothing up, Spencer starts to hallucinate, seeing the face of Hathaway everywhere, then finally passes out in the middle of the street. Kale drags him to Enelai and watches over him until he regains consciousness. When he finally awakens, he explains to the questioning dweller that they had administered psychedelic drugs that affected his nervous system during the time of his arrest, which made him consistently hallucinate and doubt his own mind. At a distance, Spencer sees Hathaway and his brigade walking past the hospital. Coming up with an idea to throw the agent off his scent, he takes the sim that was removed from his spine and places it inside Hathaway's coat by pretending to be a civilian. Hathaway and his men are confused by the continuous information they keep receiving, informing them Spencer has just passed by their side. Hathaway has his men thoroughly check everyone around them, chasing their own tails around. Suddenly, Hathaway realizes what had just transpired and checks his keys to find Spencer's sim. Kale has doubts about going through with the mission, but has invested too much time and effort to back out now, so he falls Spencer into the hospital basement, leading him up to where the ambulances land. Spencer pretends to be one of the injured victims from the recent attack, having Kale roll him inside a gurney. Amidst the chaos, Spencer can see his face plastered all over the walls and has to keep hidden. As promised, Spencer gets Kale into the pharmacy and tells him that he has only 2 minutes to find what he needs and escape. Leaving him there, Spencer heads up to his wife's office and finds a previous molecular scan he had taken of himself years ago. Using that, he ambushes one of the other doctors, making him help him take another one so the comparison would prove his innocence. As he lay on the machine performing the scan, the doctor he had forced into performing the procedure subtly called for an emergency. As an orderly enters the room, the doctor gives her a signal to call for security. Seeing the danger, the orderly hurries out only to find Kale dressed as a doctor and asks him to call for security. Feeling a sense of loyalty, Kale hurries into the procedure room and warns Spencer that security is coming for him. Just as he's about to leave, 2 security guards enter and the fighting starts. Although Spencer and Kale manage to take the guards out, Kale is slightly stabbed in the side, forcing him to abandon his new friend. Having discovered the ploy, Hathaway hurries to the hospital, which is now in chaos. Unable to finish the exam, Spencer is forced to run out of the room but encounters Hathaway and his men in the hospital hallway. A shootout ensues, but Spencer manages to escape with sheer tenacity. Finally, out of the hospital and on the streets, he sees on the giant billboards that the fires that had been consuming the forest had almost been contained. Reminiscing about the trip he took with his wife recently, and remembering that it was the first place he met his Maya, he calls and begs her to meet him at the place. That night, Maya heads out of the city to their campaign spot and meets her husband. Feeling frightened by his appearance and by what she has heard, Maya chooses to keep her distance. Spencer starts to explain that Hathaway and the others were right about a Centaurian ship crossing through their border and crashing, causing the huge fire, but tells that it could never have gotten to him. Maya tells her husband that she doesn't believe the agents, and they kiss. Suddenly, the place erupts with bright light engulfing them. Spencer and Maya run into the woods, crisscrossing the thick branches until they finally happen upon the crashed ship. Spencer rushes over to it and starts removing the branches around it so they can expose the pilot and prove their innocence. When Hathaway arrives, he yells at Spencer to stop because he has made a mistake, explaining that the person who decoded the first message had made a mistake. Refusing to listen, Spencer opens the ship and is shocked by what he sees. The dead body of his wife lay there, her corpse clearly identifiable. When a similarly shocked Maya sees the body, she tries to run, but Hathaway shoots her in the back. Tears welling up in his eyes, Spencer cradles his dead wife in his arms, holding her close. While Hathaway is speaking to Spencer, one of his men calls out to him, letting him know that they have discovered something else. As they open the second pod of the ship, they find another body body, and half away is shocked to see that it was Spencer. As he turns around, Spencer sees his body and realizes he is also a humanoid robot. Suddenly, the realization triggers the U-bomb to explode and incinerate everything around them for miles. Back in the city, the news broadcasts the recent tragedy, mourning the loss of thousands of people. Gale had taken the medicine he stole from the hospital to his people, and most of them seem to have been getting better. As he watches the news and sees interviews with Spencer, he wonders if he truly knows the man.